It's strange to think about, but the 2015 drafted guys are now 24 years old. McDavid, Marner, Besser, Rantanen. Darn, it's pretty rough to think about. Either way, though, today we're talking about a guy who was drafted out of that 2015 NHL Entry Draft, and if you've been a fan of this YouTube channel for a while now, and by a while I mean like a few years, you kind of know how I feel about this player and how much I want this guy to succeed. We had made videos talking about the progression and the ups and the downs and all that stuff, but today I stumbled across an article on the Chicago Blackhawks subreddit. Take a look at this, it's on the Chicago Sun-Times. Blackhawks Dylan Strome, trying to stay optimistic despite a reduced role. It was actually kind of made aware to me from this article that I read, as well as some of the comments. What exactly has been going on with this guy? Now, I'm not the biggest Blackhawks fan in the world, so if any Blackhawks fans are out there, you want to contribute to this discussion or get another point of view out there in the comments, that is very fair. Go ahead and do that if you please. But today we're going to be exploring the idea of Dylan Strome and what exactly happened to this guy. Because this article over here by Ben Pope on the Chicago Sun-Times goes over how Dylan Strome is indeed going to be getting a reduced role on the hockey team. He talks about where exactly Strome has been deployed. He'd played with Ryan Carpenter and Johar Khaira, Alex Nylander, Cam Morrison, etc., etc., etc. I'll just say this before we get into any of the quotes, because it is kind of interesting to point out, but the Blackhawks, to me, this year got really scary, and I made a video about that, talking about the new additions to the team. You know, Jonathan Toews is back, Kirby Dach is back, you have, obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury in net, and Seth Jones in the back end, who did produce at the same point-per-game rate as Adam Boqvist, but Jones is still going to be there, not to mention Tyler Johnson, he's new on this team as well, all alongside of the DeBrincats and the Canes and all the other guys you had on this team beforehand. Strome has been seen as somewhat of an afterthought, and that indeed has been highlighted here in the piece. This is what Jeremy Colleton said about why Strome has been so neglected in the lineup. We want to have possession in the offensive zone. We want to be a harder team to play against without the puck. So if Strome can help us there, it'll help his cause to be in the lineup. And it's not like he's out of the lineup. He's still playing with guys like Ryan Carpenter and Alex Nylander and all that. It's just, in previous training camps, as it's highlighted here in the article, Strome would be placed quickly on lines with Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane and all that. But nowadays, it's not really like that. I'm just staying positive, he said. You never know what can happen during a season. A lot happens, it's a long season, so I want to come in, be positive, be happy around the rink, happy to be here, and happy to see the fans. Carrying the puck with speed is one thing I need to do better, he also said. Sometimes I just get it and I just throw it away when I know I can make plays. And I should be making plays, so I'm going to continue to work on that. Hopefully it translates to more offensive zone time. And this comment in particular really stood out to me when I read this article, because when I started to think about what exactly made Dylan Strome so great, why this guy was third overall behind Connor McDavid and Jack Eichel in the 2015 NHL Entry Draft, it's because of the way he plays with the puck. Dylan Strome is a big body. We can go out there, take a look at the profile here, 6'3", 201, who in the OHL would use his frame and his overall puck skills to just have his way with the opponent. He would find easy sectors to dangle through guys. Because he was a big guy, it'd be tough to sneak up from behind and take the puck away from him, and his elite hockey IQ, scoring ability, and soft hands contributed to his very high point production even after Connor McDavid went to the Edmonton Oilers. These were the skills that made Dylan Strome elite, and it's why even in the AHL you could see his production with the Tucson Roadrunners in 2017-18, point per game guy. I'll be right front and honest and say that my personal biases towards the Erie Otters and how cool they were back in this time frame with like Connor Brown and Dermott and McDavid and Strome and all these guys, I really liked the Erie Otters back then. And so seeing Dylan Strome go from a position where he was one of the best guys in the OHL to one of the best young guys in the AHL, it really kind of hyped me up personally into thinking how good this guy could be in the NHL, which is why his first season in Chicago after getting traded over, 51 points, 58 games played, I'll always kind of cling to that internally as somewhat of a benchmark of what Strome was capable of doing. But seeing where things have gone since then, 17 points and 40 games played with the Blackhawks this season, and Colleton going out there and just labeling why that is, it kind of opens my eyes now seeing these quotes where Strome is like, yeah, I'm not really making as many plays as I could be because I'm just kind of throwing the puck away. Like, that is some pretty good awareness, I'll say that. Good on him for actually admitting that, because, you know, awareness is part of the first step of recovery, isn't it? And now we have ourselves a dilemma as to where the Blackhawks go from here. Because the way this team has been assembled, it's very clear that they are trying to go for it. Like, this team wants to get over that hump and give themselves another chance for Kane and Toews, who is back, by the way, to do some damage over here, while still not completely sabotaging the future for this hockey team. And so, when I saw this article posted onto the Blackhawks subreddit, I tried to read some of the comments, take a look at what the Blackhawks fan base had to say. The number one comment over here says, the problem with Strome is consistency. He is at best a 3 center with a number 1 skill set. I think he's one of those guys that excels after a trade and fizzles out because they get too comfortable. We had ourselves some more comments over here saying that Colleton nailed the problem when being coy about how Strome plays with the puck. He is a very soft player for his size. He is just not hard enough to play against. Offensively gifted, but he is wildly inconsistent there too. It can be argued his first season with us, he greatly benefited from playing with his best friend DeBrincat. It's a tough situation for him and the team, no doubt. The other comments are talking about his speed and whether or not it's actually worth it to go out there and replace one of your top guys in the lineup with Dylan Strome. But it is kind of interesting because these problems are somewhat of a, I don't know if it's the right word to say, but a consequence, I guess, of being as good as you are and having a development curve that doesn't immediately show you where you need to go from here. Sure, Dylan Strome had the 7-game stint with the Arizona Coyotes in the 2016-17 season, a year after he was drafted, but it took him a while to actually break in as an NHL caliber guy. And sure, with the Tucson Roadrunners, he could just dangle his way through because the guys in the AHL are not as skilled as the guys in the NHL, still use the soft hands and silky mitts as he had before to produce points, and it's worked out really well for him at the AHL level. But as his development has gone on into the NHL, I kind of start to hypothesize that maybe Dylan Strome getting too comfortable was a result of the dominance he displayed at every other hockey level he has played in his career. He's never had a tough time scoring points aside from the NHL. And since the NHL is the biggest jump out of all the hockey leagues he has played in so far, maybe this is the year where it's like, okay, he kind of understands that he needs to be able to drive a line himself. He needs to be able to force either a Tyler Johnson or a Kirby Dach below him in the depth chart. He needs to be able to do that if he wants to get these minutes. Because you're not playing on an Erie Otters team that doesn't have McDavid anymore, and automatically you're the best guy on this team that needs to do what he needs to do. You're playing on the Chicago Blackhawks, and we've got a lot of other players that we can easily put into the lineup ahead of you. And so now, getting that tough love, not starting out in practice with Kane and DeBrincat, you're starting out with Ryan Carpenter and Adam Gaudette. Maybe this is the push that Dylan Strome needs. Now, is starting him with other players that aren't as good as Kane or DeBrincat, is that change going to make him faster? Is that going to make him more difficult to play against? I don't know. It's not really directly correlated, but if these skills that Colleton is talking about could be incorporated into the bigger body of training that Dylan Strome proceeds to do as the year goes on, maybe we could have something here. I don't know. I would love to see Dylan Strome go out there and just take over the league like people thought he would be able to back in 2015, because I remember all the hype about this guy, man. This guy was supposed to be better than Marner. He was supposed to be just a shade below Eichel and McDavid. He was supposed to be an elite first liner, 85, 90 plus point potential. And what? He had a point-per-game season under the NHL's Chicago Blackhawks after getting traded over there, but ever since then, it's been up and down, not really in a consistent spot in the lineup because he just hasn't earned it. So, for Chicago fans, talk to me in the comments. What do you think about Dylan Strome and this entire idea that we've talked about over here? Link in the description to the article on the Chicago Sun-Times, as well as the Reddit post as well. Some good discussion and food for thought going on over there. But is this kind of accurate in your mind? Is this what happened with Dylan Strome? Because, to me, it's been one of the more interesting questions over the past few seasons. Why Dylan Strome was so good in the AHL, but he was never really used with the Coyotes. Maybe that was ultimately what took him down, because, he's not being played, therefore he's not getting exposed to the NHL game, despite already being above and beyond at the AHL level. Maybe the Coyotes just did not give this guy the opportunity to proceed with things the right way. But then again, it's like, okay, he was a really good player for Chicago at the beginning. What happened from then, you know? So talk to me in the comments. Is it comfort? Is it deployment? Is it line mates? What exactly has gone on here with Dylan Strome? Talk to me in the comments. What do you think? I hope you enjoyed this. 99. And bye.